A very busy show today, so much to get through. I hope you are very well. Coming up, the sheer scale of Meghan Markle's unpopularity is revealed. The Sussexes continue to troll the grieving Beckhams by cruelly taking sides with their runaway son, Brooklyn. Will William and Catherine secure the long-term future of the monarchy when they take to the throne? And following a debate on the previous video about whether American women make for good wives, I'm introducing a new item on the show. It's the Mark Dolan Show Top 10 list. And today's Top 10 list is Greatest American Wives. Will Hillary or Dr. Jill, will Michelle or Melania make the cut? But first, in an extraordinary move that will devastate the Duchess of Sussex, Prince William, the Prince of Wales, is going to appear on a major television show fronted by one of her biggest enemies in the media, Jeremy Clarkson. Now, Jeremy Clarkson isn't just a motoring broadcaster, of course, host of Top Gear and The Grand Tour. He's also a fledgling farmer, but he's also a devastatingly brilliant journalist who drops plenty of truth bombs. And writing in the Sun newspaper in December of 2022, he said what many of us think around the world. He wrote, "I hate Meghan Markle on a cellular level." Now, I thought this was fantastic language. The guy is an absolute poet. I also thought it was hilarious. I am, as well as a current affairs broadcaster and cultural commentator, I'm a trained stand-up comedian, and I know a good joke when I see one. And that sentence, "I hate Meghan Markle on a cellular level," is hilarious. Okay, it's funny. It's deliberately fanciful language and exaggerated. It caused a complete meltdown. Okay, this article became a global news story, partly because Clarkson, in a moment of pure satire and lyrical fantasy, wrote in the article that he'd like her to face the same fate as a character in the television series Game of Thrones, who was paraded naked down the street to face public shame, and she had doo-doo thrown at her. Now, this imagery was a direct reference to a fictional scene from a made-up TV show in Game of Thrones. That was the show where a character called Cersei Lannister endures a similar public humiliation. So Clarkson has written, in an act of creative extremity, a frisson, an imaginary ejaculation, if you like. This guy has basically just, had a parallel with a TV show and said he'd like Meghan to face a similar sort of medieval public flogging, okay? It was a joke. It wasn't true. It was based on a fictional TV show. But the whole world went mad about it, especially the Sussexes. Now, clearly, Prince William has a brain, understands the written word, understands creativity, and clearly Prince William has a sense of humour, because he's understood that this article was not literal, a deliberate exaggeration for comic effect, which is why he's decided to go on Jeremy Clarkson's TV show. Now, at the time, Meghan and Harry were furious about this article by Clarkson, which is why for William to appear on Clarkson's monstrously successful farming show is such a story. So be clear about this, folks. Prince William, the Prince of Wales, going on Clarkson's farm is an act of war. This is the nuclear button being pressed. I cannot tell you the extent to which Meghan Markle detests Jeremy Clarkson. Why? Well, because he tells the truth. She doesn't like people that tell the truth, which is why I doubt she'd enjoy the Mark Dolan show too much, which would be a very uncomfortable experience for her, and so it should. So here's the truth. William going on that show is, it is a diplomatic broadside, and it is deliberately aimed at upsetting Duchess Difficult. The gloves are off, folks. William's had enough. William has declared war on the Sussexes, and he's not even king yet. So it's the same reason why William has been love-bombing David Beckham, who's now firmly in Team Wales. Because let's be honest, there are now two teams. It's Team Wales and Team Sussex. Let me know in the comments which team you're in, by the way. Are you in Team Wales or in Team Sussex? Let me know. Also, do give me your feedback about the show. Tell me what you love. Tell me what you don't love. Are you happy with the length? Do you think that 35 to 40 minutes is good, or do you like shorter videos? Do let me know in the comments. And what do you think about the voices? My husband I like Princess Catherine. She is my friend. Upon her, I wish no harm. Let me know what you think of all aspects of the show. Do you like the voices? Do you not like the voices? Get that feedback coming, because this show is a democracy and it belongs to you as much as it belongs to me. So William has been love bombing David Beckham, who's firmly in Team Wales, having fallen out with Team Sussex over their cruel and untrue claims that he and Victoria leaked stories to the press about Meghan. Now, Jeremy Clarkson is quite clearly the latest recruit to Team Wales. I mean, Team Wales have got some big hitters, haven't they? Because they've got David Beckham, one of the most famous men in the world and the head of England's second royal family. They've got King Charles. Team Wales have got King Charles, because Charles and William are like peas in a pod these days, as close can be. United by a fraternal, paternal bond. They are father and son. They are bonded by DNA, by history, by the fact that they both share this significant role, have shared this significant role of being king or king in waiting. Okay, they're the only two men on the planet having had that experience. Of course, George is coming. Lovely little kid that he is. So the boys, William and Charles, are very bonded, and Charles is firmly in Team Wales. But so is Jeremy Clarkson, and I think that's a formidable person to have on your side. One of the most famous broadcasters in the world. Jeremy Clarkson, by the way, worth in the direction of $100 million. So this guy is not afraid of anyone. He can't be cancelled. And it's such a bold move from William to appear on his show when it's been so publicly reported that Clarkson is a critic of the Sussexes. I hate Meghan Markle on a cellular level. What a line! I think that is the first mic drop of the day, do you not think? He's joking. I mean, yes, he doesn't like Meghan Markle, but it was exaggeration for comic effect. On a cellular level, the guy's a genius. Anyway, the big story here is that William lends his name and his face to Clarkson's television vehicle. This is huge. Do you have any idea how this news will be going down in Montecito? It's going to absolutely... I mean, Harry will be... At the moment, Prince Harry is the world's least happy millionaire. He's going to be... what's he going to be? He's going to be the most unhappy millionaire in the entire universe and the unhappiest millionaire in history. Past, present, and future. And Meghan, well, just absolutely raging. And this is a woman that already has anger issues. But wait till she opens her morning newspaper and sees that William is going to appear on her enemy, Jeremy Clarkson's show. She will spit out her chai latte. No amount of flour sprinkles will improve her mood. By the way, this is a bold move from William. This is feisty. This is an act of aggression. This is an act of aggression from William. This is pugilistic. This is a maneuver. This is a strike. And it's not friendly fire. This is enemy attack. It is. And I'm delighted about it because, as I've told you in previous shows, I think William is a strong, mentally strong guy. He's very disciplined. He's very hardworking. He's tough. He lost his mother when he was a teenager. He suffered as a result of Charles and Diana's unhappy marriage because he was more cognizant of what was happening. Harry was very young and most of it will have escaped his attention. Poor William witnessed the fights. He witnessed the froideur. He witnessed the separation. And then, of course, he was there for his mother's tragic passing in 1997. So he's been through that, had that emotional turmoil. A lot of you in the comments, by the way, when I talk about Diana's tragic death, a lot of you say, yes, it's very sad, but most of you have experienced some kind of personal tragedy, and that gives you no excuse to behave like Harry has behaved. And I totally agree. And yes, it's terrible what happened to that family with Diana's loss, but pain and tragedy is not unique to the Windsors. I totally agree with you on that one. But I think we can agree that William certainly didn't have the easiest childhood or the easiest teenage years, plus the burden of expecting to be king. I mean, this was the madness of Harry complaining about being the spare. Poor old Prince Harry. Humpty Dumpty Dumpty Dum. I'm so unhappy. It's such an insult that I'm the spare. we've got the heir and I'm the spare. Harry didn't realise that being the spare is the gig to have. All the fame, all the money, all the privilege, none of the responsibility and the boring work. Do you have any idea how much work William has to do? He gets 2 boxes every day of correspondence that he's got to get through. He has meetings with his team about future royal trips. He makes 2 to 3 visits a day around the country. He's nursed his wife back from ill health and a battle against cancer. He's a father to 3 stunning children. He is preparing to become the king of the United Kingdom. This guy's got a lot on his plate. And he's a very strong and amazing guy. So therefore, the idea that Harry should be envious of William is absurd. William's got, yes, it's lovely to be king, but it's a tougher gig. And there's nothing wrong with being the spare. And also, do you know what? With Harry and being the spare, get over yourself. We live in an era now where people feel like they've got a bad lot in life because, well, I don't know, this is how I wanted my life to be, and I'm a bus driver and I wanted to be a billionaire stockbroker. Well, yeah, go figure. We've all got bills, love. Get over yourself. So that's what Harry didn't do. And I think he's had too much therapy, by the way. He's an example of therapy backfiring horribly and making someone even more miserable. I mean, in California, there's so much therapy. It's a therapy culture. Does Harry look happy to you? Blimey. He looks like he's about to burst into tears whenever he's photographed. Understandably so, given that he's married to my head. So, Harry. So we know that William is intelligent, highly intelligent, very hardworking, and I think emotionally strong. And by the way, built for his public role. This guy is going to be the perfect king. The perfect king. At the end of the video, at the end of the show, the Mark Dolan show, I'm going to give you the numbers on just how popular William is. Is he the most popular royal in the country? Find out at the end of the show, worth waiting for. Don't forget, by the way, coming up, we discussed Meghan Markle, an American wife, not the best example of an American wife. I think we can all agree. So then I debated, are American wives good? And I can assure you that American women make some of the finest wives known to man. And Harry just chose the wrong one. Out of a population of, 350 million people, half of whom are ladies, he just got the wrong one. So at the end, the Mark Dolan show top 10 list of best American wives through history. So William is strong. He's intelligent. He's a big personality. But what we've discovered with this story, breaking news on the Mark Dolan show, what we've discovered is that William is also a fighter. And let's not forget, in that terrible book, Spare, written by a proper journalist, and I mean, I wonder, will Harry ever read Spare, do you think? Or is he waiting for the film? He didn't write that book. I've been rereading Spare, and it's full of this amazing, beautiful, lyrical language, nearly as good as Jeremy Clarkson's writing. And there's no way that Harry, who is as thick as 2 short planks, has penned a word of that book. Anyway, in the book, he talked about the fight between him and William, and that was interesting. He never should have done that, because if 2 brothers have a fight, bit of a punch up, that should stay behind closed doors. You don't put it in a book. That's humiliating for William. It's also really unfair on William. It's really unjust, because William is not in a position to defend himself because he's the Prince of Wales, and the royals are so brilliant because they don't speak out. That's why I'm irritated when Harry writes the book and does the podcast and the TV series, and when he goes on the BBC with a traitorous interview, then he always says, oh, I'm having my side of the story. It's like, well, it's only your side, because the royals are decent and they have discretion and they don't speak out at all. So that fight that they had, there was a kerfuffle, a fight, and William gave Harry a right hook and floored him. So we know, therefore, that William isn't just more mentally strong than Harry and undoubtedly more intelligent, but he's more physically strong too. Because William is jacked. William's a beast. William is a unit. because he's lean, okay? He's got a low BMI. That muscle mass is off the charts. He's one of those lean, strong guys you get in the military, actually, where in a suit, it doesn't look that much, but by God, the horsepower that's going on underneath that Savile Row suit is something to behold. So he's a unit, he's tall, he's slim, he's strong, and he's knocked Harry's lights out, which is, by the way, I don't I don't advocate that kind of behavior. It's a family show. You should never resolve things with the fist or with force. But it tells us that William is a fighter. And now he's come out fighting, and he's gone for Meghan Markle with a clean right hook. This is a flex. It's courageous. It's fearless. And it's a clear message that William is going to deal with Meghan Markle head on. He's going to deal with her, folks, and he's going to take her down. He is going to take her down. He's going to take her down to Chinatown is where they're going. I mean it. I do mean it. This is him putting Meghan in her place. I mean, yes, it's not an all-out, it's not, it's not a public statement disowning her. Of course, I get that. But the messaging is huge. It's diplomatically extraordinary and unprecedented. And it's a clear signal that William's had enough and that the gloves are off. And I think it's a very exciting thing. And as I said earlier, he's not even king yet. Just wait till he becomes king. At which point I believe that the Sussex titles will go and HRH. I'm sure of it. Some of that will require an act of parliament. I think the HRH can go, that can be done in-house. Sussex's Duke and Duchess, that's got to be an act of parliament. No problem with that. Slam that into the first king's speech of the reign of King William. Oh, how good does that sound, by the way? King William. Life will be very uncomfortable for Harry and Meghan when he's king, but it's already uncomfortable now as he appears on the TV show starring Meghan's number one enemy. Now, the other exciting thing about this move is that this will break the long-standing tradition that you're not allowed to criticize Meghan Markle. Clarkson's article sparked widespread outrage at the time. 25,000 complaints to the UK's independent press standards organisation, IPSO, making it the most complained about article in the regulator's history because apparently we're not allowed to criticise Meghan Markle or Prince Harry because it turns out that millionaire actresses and English princes are the latest protected class. It was so bad, the reaction to that. Now listen, Clarkson's article, it's not language that I would use, as you know. You know how I roll. I give you punchy opinion. I will reveal my innermost thoughts. I will demonstrate some invective at times, but it's not going to be, that sort of violent language, even though it was a metaphor. But the bottom line is it was a dangerous moment because it empowered Meghan Markle, because it gave her a message that she can't be criticised. And that's why I supported Clarkson at the time. On my TV show, I backed him up all the way and said he shouldn't have had to apologise, which he did. He shouldn't have risked losing his job as a writer, a journalist at The Sun and The Sunday Times. He should never have faced any censure for expressing his free speech and daring to criticise a millionaire actress and her English prince son. It was outrageous. But the issue is, and that's why it's so significant that William's going on this show, because this is now him fighting back and saying, actually, we're going to support people that dare to criticise the Sussexes. Because look at my mate Piers Morgan, lost his job on ITV. He was the host of the morning show, GMB. And he lost his job because he dared to say the day after the Oprah non-interview that he didn't believe a word she said. Well, he's been proved completely right about that. But he lost his job on Good Morning Britain. That was in 2021. That was a terrible, terrible moment for free speech. So this is a big pushback, and I'm very, very happy to see it. So well done, William, for being so brave. I cannot wait to see the show. Folks, can we talk about that prize numpty Brooklyn Beckham, who is the son of David and Victoria Beckham? This is a guy that cruelly ignored his own father's 50th birthday celebrations because he's now married to someone that seems to be a rather controlling and manipulative and possessive American wife called Nicola Peltz, whose father, Nelson Peltz, is a billionaire, one of America's richest entrepreneurs, who's got a stake in Wendy Burgers, of which Meghan is such a fan. Lazy Meghan never cooks, and she loves Wendy's and the KFC family bucket. That's why you never see a picture of the children, Archie and Lilibet, face on, because they've got no teeth. They're malnourished, I can't lie. And that's why Harry's so fat and miserable these days. Humpy-dumpy-dumpy-dump. Another bargain bucket for me. Humpy-dumpy-dump. I'll have a Big Mac, please, and some chicken McNuggets, because I'm a right royal nugget myself. Humpy-dumpy-dumpy-dump. So this fool, Brooklyn Beckham, who is the eldest son, who's allowed himself, just like Harry and Meghan, allowed himself to be seduced by this young woman that's appears to have turned him against his own family. My evidence for that is that since they got married, he's moved to America and he's now not talking to his mother and father or his siblings. So if that's not related to Nicola Peltz, I need some help there. So wait for it. Completely silent about his father's 50th. And by the way, his father, an accomplished man, one of the most famous men in the world, entrepreneur, soccer star, you name it. His dad is a legend. And Brooklyn won't even bother to pick up his smartphone and text his dad or do a public, hey, it's my father's birthday. No. But he has posted a heartfelt Instagram tribute to Nicola Peltz's grandmother, Bunny. Now, sadly, she died in May 2024. That's very sad. I'm sure she was a lovely lady. She was 95, which is a great age. And so God bless her. May God rest in, what was it? May she, what should I say as a Roman Catholic? May God rest her soul, right? And of course, very, very sad. Can I just point out that was a year ago. So Brooklyn posts about the 1 year anniversary of losing Nicola's grandmother. So that's, don't want to be unkind. It's an old story. It's a year. I mean, yeah, you want to remember the anniversary, but she was 95. She had quite a good innings. I think we'd all take 95. Would you take 95? I would take 95. So, all right, acknowledged the lady. But I mean, this is a year on. It's old news. It's sad news, but it's a year old. It's a year. And yet nothing about his own father that brought him into the world. Bunny, this lady, was Nicola's maid of honor at her wedding to Brooklyn in 2022. Brooklyn shared several photos and wrote, "Can't believe it's been a year without you. You were always so happy and always made me laugh. I miss you and will love you forever." Where's the love for your father, who's just turned 50, Brooklyn? He goes on, "It makes me sad to think of our future kids not being able to know you." Well, I mean, will your future kids ever meet David and Victoria? Or are you going to do a Harry and Meghan on that? Because, of course, we know that Thomas Markle Sr. has never met his grandchildren. Are you going to repeat that act of genius? He goes on, "You were one of a kind and we miss you every day." Nicola also posted a message to her grandmother. Now, it just strikes me as shocking that he'll be tweeting about a woman that he barely knew, who sadly passed away, but it's his wife's grandmother. It's been a year. Am I missing something? Anyway, and can you imagine how that will make David feel? How does David Beckham feel when he's had to have all these headlines about, where's your son for his birthday celebration? Should have been the happiest time of his life, reaching 50 and celebrating everything that he's achieved. He and Victoria are worth $1 billion. They're incredibly accomplished people. And he should have been there at 50 with a cigar and a brandy. Probably sponsored, because he'll sponsor anything that moves, this guy. If you gave David Beckham a sandwich, he would immediately sponsor it because he's very commercially minded. And Brooklyn's lucky there because Brooklyn's rich thanks to his hardworking dad, who Brooklyn is now ghosting. Brooklyn Beckham is ghosting his own father. Make it make sense. And you know something? David has done the opposite because David Beckham extended a public olive branch at the time of his 50th birthday, including Brooklyn, in a heartfelt Mother's Day tribute to Victoria Beckham. So that was Mother's Day, it's a few weeks ago in the UK. And it was about Victoria Beckham, of course. She's been a great mother. And he shared a throwback photo featuring all 4 of their children, tagging Brooklyn. So he included Brooklyn in this message because they're estranged at this point already, expressing love for the family. And then David goes fishing in Scotland for his 50th birthday with Romeo and Cruz. Going fishing. I mean, how cool is that to go fishing with David Beckham? And Brooklyn's not there. And rather than be angry about it, David very magnanimously posted the following. He said he was with Romeo and Cruz. He said to Brooklyn, he acknowledged Brooklyn's absence and said, "You were missed, Brooklyn Peltz Beckham. These youngsters are so spoiled, aren't they? That he won't even like that or respond to that message." His father, David, shouldn't be messaging him on his 50th birthday, having achieved everything that he's achieved in his life. And by the way, if you are going to ghost your father, you're ghosting your mother too. So you're ghosting Victoria Beckham, one of the most famous and beautiful women in the world, who's one of the Spice Girls, who sold 100 million records and were the first band to break America since the Beatles, really. No, lots of bands have broken. Let me correct that. But I think that there was some statistic about the impact of their record sales in America it had a kind of trajectory, not a million miles away from the Beatles at the time. I think it was the girl band. That was the biggest girl band in the history of American popular music to do those kind of numbers. Anyway, brilliant stuff. They did very well. So they're so spoiled and it's so shocking. And all I'm going to say to Beckham is pick up the phone, call your dad, say sorry, and sort your life out. Now, folks, we have got a couple of bits and pieces to get through before we go. A YouGov poll shows that Meghan Markle's approval rating, so because they've got polling for politicians, but royals as well. Not that Meghan's a royal. But her approval rating in the United Kingdom is at its lowest level since they began tracking her popularity in 2017. Only 20% of Brits have a positive view of her, and those 20% need to seek medical attention. All right. That 20% who think they like her, they need help. They need counseling, and they should ease off the medication because your judgment is not good. And 65% hold a negative opinion, and the rest, it's quite clear, don't care. They don't care about this woman. And by the way, that is the best way to treat Meghan, is to laugh at her and not care about her. It's a big fall from grace. She was one of the most popular royals in the country. I've got close friends in Fleet Street, which is the home of UK journalism. And I can tell you that her narrative that the press were against her and that the press were racist is an egregious lie and completely the opposite of the truth. I've got friends at the very, very top of some of Britain's newspapers who have told me quite clearly that when she arrived, they were so excited when Meghan Markle appeared on the scene because they admired Catherine, but found her a little bland. And she just didn't have the currency, Princess Catherine, that she enjoys now. She's obviously matured and grown into the role. She's always been a stunning, beautiful girl and a smart girl. But Meghan had the X factor. Meghan had a certain something about her, an element of showbiz, a backstory, obviously a diverse family setup, all of those things. And Fleet Street, UK journalists were absolutely delighted when she came along. And this one insider said to me that when she arrived, we realized that we had our new Diana. That's what he said. Meghan was our new Diana. We needed a new Diana. At the time, they didn't feel Catherine was, probably because she's too nice and not controversial enough, which has made her so great in the long run. But Meghan was box office. So the press loved her, Fleet Street loved her, and it's only when she turned against the country, and when she turned against the press, and when she turned against her royal role, and when she turned against the monarchy, and when she turned against the royal family, that's when the British people fell out of love with her. Very shortly, potentially tomorrow, I may well do a big anniversary special because Harry and Meghan, my husband, their anniversary. Princess Catherine is my friend. Upon her, I wish no harm. I will do, it may be tomorrow, a dedicated anniversary special because they, in inverted commas, celebrate 7 years on the 19th So we may do a dedicated video in which I'll pick to pieces the ruins of their marriage and all the destruction. Prince William is the most popular royal, with 75% of public opinion loving him, with Catherine just a couple of points behind on 72. And we know why, because he's brilliant at what he does. He's a decent, intelligent man. And as we've discovered from this video, very brave as well. Let me give you some really nice quotes, actually, from Jenny Bond, who's a good friend of mine. She's still Jenny from the block. Jenny Bond is the former BBC Royal correspondent, and I've had her on my show. I'm a big fan. I had a big falling out with her on my previous TV show because it was the day that Catherine's awful cancer diagnosis was revealed, and a statement came in from the Sussexes, which, by the way, took hours to arrive, a public statement about Catherine's cancer diagnosis. And because I've got a robust journalistic instinct, I was the only UK journalist to notice that this statement from the Sussexes did not contain the word love. So Princess Catherine, who is Harry's sister-in-law, has been diagnosed with cancer, which could take her life. We didn't know at the time what the prospects were. And she's got a young husband and 3 small children. And I'm literally the only UK journalist in the country, possibly the world, certainly the country, to notice that the word love was not in the statement. And it was all best wishes and speedy recovery and all of that. There was no use of the word love. Can you imagine a note to your sister-in-law who is battling cancer and may widow her husband and may orphan her children? Can you imagine a note that didn't have the word love in there? Can you even, in your wildest expectations, imagine that was possible for you to omit the word love? How is that possible? Even if you didn't love the relative, you would write the word love. They've got cancer, for goodness sakes. So I was the only person, and I had a big ding-dong with Jenny Bond from the BBC. She's still Jenny from the block. And I said to her, Jenny, I've noticed through my journalistic instincts that no one else seems to have, that the word love is not in that statement. And she said, oh, will you please give it a rest for once? She said, have a break. Have a day. Take a day off. She tried to take me down, guys. She tried to take me down. She tried to take me down to Chinatown. She didn't make it to Chinatown. We didn't even reach Taiwan because I was in control. Because I am a broadcaster and a journalist and an entertainer that knows his onions. And she can throw insults all she likes, Jenny Bond, who, by the way, I have the greatest regard. I like Jenny Bond. I respect her. She's a lovely person. I happen to know her offspring of hers. Again, brilliant. So lovely family, no issue with Jenny, but we had a flare up there, which, by the way, all friends do. And she begged to differ. But I wasn't very happy because I thought she tried to throw me under the bus for pointing out the very valid issue that there was no word love in that statement. And so I do feel that Jenny Bond is a little bit team Sussex at times. But she understands William's success. And she said Prince William's success stems from his approachability and modern style, and that this was foreseen by Princess Diana. Jenny Bond said, she told the Mirror newspaper, clearly William is doing something very right. His informal, approachable way of going about his work is resonating with the public. Even the way he talks is different to previous generations. He's well-spoken, of course, but not overly posh. He dresses well, but is quite often wearing jeans and trainers. He'll pose for selfies with the crowds. He'll even work the camera for them if they get flustered. This adds up to a prince and future king who seems reasonably in touch despite his privileged status. As Diana once said to Jenny Bond, William's all right. This country is very lucky to have William. I think she was bang on, is what Jenny said. So there you go. That is, I've parted company with Jenny Bond about those issues around the statement, but she is bang on that one. And I will, at a certain point, by the way, on the Mark Dolan show, we are planning to do interviews and guests. And I'll get Jenny on and we'll revisit that conversation And it would be lovely to have someone of her caliber on the show. So we're going to bring interviews in shortly. But with these daily shows, there's so much to say. There isn't really space. At the moment, the space is taken up by you and I. So folks, before we go, big controversy in the previous video. A debate about whether American women make good wives. Of course they do. This show is global, and we have got extraordinary women watching in North and South America, in Europe, in Asia, in Australasia, in Africa. Listen, I was asleep during geography at school, I can't lie. But it's quite clear that American women make outstanding wives, world class potentially. As do the Australians and New Zealanders and the South Africans and the Welsh and the Brits. I mean, British ladies, German ladies. Dankeschön. Warum nicht? Das ist mein Lieblings. Was möchten Sie? Okay, ich bin hungrig. Lass uns essen Kuchen mit Schlag und ein Glas Bier. Right, can we, guys, you interrupt me, you see. You're only going to slow things down if you throw in these curveballs. Right, so we had a debate about American ladies, if they make good wives, and of course they do. And it's just that Harry was unlucky that he chose Meghan. And I think Brooklyn Beckham was unlucky that he chose Nicola Peltz. The only good thing about her is that her father owns a stake in Wendy's, which is Meghan Markle's favourite fast food joint. She really enjoys the value meals because she's penny pinching and lazy. Right. So what I've got is the very first, the inaugural Mark Dolan show top 10 list. I mean, I can't imagine where we got that idea from. The Mark Dolan show top 10 list of best American wives. And in at number 10, Barbara Bush. Pure class. I think you'll agree. Blue-blooded, old school American. Hillary Clinton. Not everyone's a fan, but she's certainly got a brain on her, an accomplished lawyer. And not easy getting Bill, her husband, to behave. She once said that he's a difficult dog to keep on the porch. Next up, we've got Michelle Obama, an excellent wife. I like Michelle Obama. She's got balls, hasn't she? And a masculine energy. I think she deserves a mic drop. Then we've got Marge Simpson, a loyal wife to Homer with perfect purple hair. How does she have time to do her hair like that? Never a hair out of place. Marge Simpson. Then we got a TV legend, the ultimate TV wife, Lucille Ball. Hi, honey, I'm home. Then we've got Priscilla Presley, a great American wife. Elvis's only truly happy relationship. Then we've got Jacqueline Kennedy, most famous first lady in history, arguably, grieving the loss of her husband, of course, assassinated in office. Then we've got Wilma Flintstone, another great American wife. Because, you know, Fred could be a bit prehistoric in his attitude sometimes. It wasn't easy. Wilma! Next up, Dr. Jill Biden, a great American wife, stayed on top of her husband Joe's medication, stopped him getting lost in the White House, and reminded him every 11 minutes that he was president. And last but not least, in no particular order, Melania Trump, who has to fight Donald every morning for the Orange Foundation. There you go. That was the inaugural Mark Dolan show top 10 list. Folks, much more to come. Keep your eyes peeled for a video in the next 24 hours. I think I'm going to do a big look at Harry and Meghan 7 years on from their wedding. Thank you for your incredible support for this brand new channel. You and I are building a media revolution together. Let me know what you like about the show, what you don't like. Let me know about the voices. Can you feel the love tonight? I always struggle. The last couple of notes is where I struggle. Good, bad, and indifferent. I'll see you for the next one. Stay awesome. Bye for now.